want to thank you all for coming here. Thank you very much for being here at the inaugural. This word I have been learning like for the whole week, where to put stress, for the inaugural event for my consulting business, for Dunia Consulting. And I want to celebrate the launch of my business by bringing together mothers, daughters, sisters, and supporters of mamas. And before we begin, I want to start by acknowledging that today we gathered on the ancestral lands of Shawnees, Wyandot, Delaware, and Miami peoples who have been living here for centuries before we came here. And let this meeting be in the same spirit of reciprocity and respect that these people have carried for generations. A little bit about this event. I wanted to create something where motherhood blends organically with identity, with belonging, where conversations flow. And this event wouldn't be possible at all without our very hospitable host here in Abba Gallery. Big thanks to Aishata and Ibrahim Said, for creating this space where African American art and African art are blended together and here in the downtown Columbus. Huge thank you for Queens Village for supporting me. Woo! Yes. I want to thank also State Representative Munira, who was very generous, and she invited our henna artist. Please enjoy, if you have time, if you want, please enjoy and do the henna. Thank you very much to my sister who couldn't be here today, my sister from Uzbekistan, who kindly provided the catering for our event here. There is food for up to 50 people, so please help yourselves. Unfortunately, she could not be here today because she's traveling the conference, but you can read more about her and her business and her story on the flyers that I was creating. What else I wanted to say? I wanted to thank all of my ambassadors, Mamam Kimus, all of the supporters who generously donated for this event and to keep these events moving forward. Thank you very much for the friends of New Society or Communities Mama who move the world. And I want to pass my word to Susan Chow, my sweet little sister, I call my little sister, who will be opening blessings in her religious tradition, which is Christianity. But I want to say that in Dunia Consulting, we respect all traditions, all religions. And please welcome Susie for the grounding and the spiritual beginning of our afternoon. Susie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Before I get started, can we just give Teresa a round of applause? Only she could bring together people from so many different backgrounds. So thank you for opening up this space for us and for this dialogue. I am so humbled and honored to be here to be a spiritual guide for today's event, and I will be brief, but I kind of just wanted to start today with a verse that I think will set the tone. And by the way, I'm Suzanne Chow. I actually work for City Council in community engagement, but I'm also the faith liaison for our team, so that's also why I'm really excited to be able to do this. So Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 9 says, "Only be careful and watch yourselves closely so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen or let them fade from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to their children after them." So everyone here has a beautiful story, a diverse story, but one thing we all have in common is that a woman brought us into this earth. And maybe it was that same woman or another parental figure, maybe a mother or father, who raised you to be who you are today. And it was the things that they saw, the struggles that they underwent and overcame that made you who you are right now. It's the fuel that makes you, want to do great things on this earth. And you focus on certain things maybe a little bit more than others. So I just wanted to say that to thank the mothers who are here right now, because you guys are shaping the lives of our next generation, and the mothers who raised you, the fathers who raised you did the same for you as well. So as we go into prayer, I'm going to pray for all of you guys, but one thing I'm actually going to ask you guys to do
is to think of a mom that you know, and just think about anything that you know she's going through, some struggles maybe. And as I'm praying for you guys, I'm going to ask if you guys can keep them in mind for prayer and pray for them that they overcome whatever they're going through. So hope you guys have someone in mind. All right. If we want to bow our heads. Father God Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, we just want to thank you for bringing us all here today. We want to thank you for putting us all here on this earth to do something great, to do something greater than our own selves. We thank you for all the mothers that are in this room. We thank you for all the mothers that are on our hearts right now. We thank you for all of the things that you have allowed each and every person in this room to overcome. We thank you for the person that they have been shaped to be and for the people that they are shaping for our future. We thank you that this dialogue is not only going to pour into us, but it's going to give us fuel to pour into others so that we may be able to take the learnings that we have from today and use them to better our community. We thank you again for everyone's coming, and we want to pray for their going as well. May you keep us all safe. May you keep us all rooted and grounded. May you bless this conversation, and may you flow in all of the speakers today so that we may be poured into. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. And so I also have the honor today to introduce our keynote speaker. So really quickly, Representative Latina M. Humphrey is a proud Columbus native and a single mama. She serves the State Rep 2nd District of Ohio, our House district, and she is a two-time author and national speaker. She advocates for criminal justice reform, housing access, child care affordability, and workforce development. And she leads with equity, community, and a vision for generational change. So with a round of applause, can we please bring forward our speaker.
All right. Well, good afternoon, family. Good afternoon. No, see, I feel like you all could do better than that. I said good afternoon, family. Good afternoon. Amen. Well, as was stated, I am State Representative Latina M. Humphrey. I have the current pleasure of representing Ohio's historic 2nd House District. So that encompasses East Columbus, South Columbus, the entire city of Whitehall, and then I have some of those surrounding cities, Reynoldsburg, Blacklick, and literally like 10 doors in Canal, Winchester. But essentially, I represent about 130,000 people at the Ohio State House. And listen, y'all, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I got to say, I am excited to be here with you all today, but would be remiss if I did not say thank you to my friend and to my sister, Teresa Timu, for asking me to be here with you all today. I just want you all to give her a round of applause, give her the honor that she is due today for all the work that she is doing in our community. As I said, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. TMI, I am a little drowsy right now, but we're going to push through. You might have seen me nodding off or whatever over here, but I'm going to get through. Allergies are taking me out. But essentially, we are here, or I am here, to talk to you all about the fact that, even though I think you know this, that women lead, women are taking charge all across this country, all across this state. Women are teachers, women are caregivers, women are mothers, women are doing all of the things. See, we are resilient, we are persistent, we are caring, we are loving, we can even be feisty sometimes, but yet and still we are sisters. And even some of our sisters like myself, some of us even still, while being a politician, being a caregiver, sometimes some of us have to take on roles for other people, i.e. sometimes we got to be fathers when we would rather not be. But see, we lead, we guide, we carry, we teach, we listen, we learn. But what we're seeing statistically is that women all across the diaspora, black women, women of color, brown women, women just in general, are being taken advantage of by way of medical bias through our hospital systems. Because see, my dear sister wanted me to come here to talk to you about maternal justice. But first, I wanted to uplift you and let you know that I see you. Let you know that I know what it is that you've been through. And even if I don't know, I can try to understand the things that you've been through. But unfortunately, as it is we lead, as it is we guide, as it is we carry, there are medical biases placed on us that make black women 2.5 more times likely to experience some type of pregnancy complication. And our black babies are 2 times likely to die in comparison to their counterparts. And see, we see within the Hispanic community, Latina community, we see that infant mortality is increasing there too. And so as we're leading, as we're doing all the things, unfortunately, we experience things that other people don't. Even though we carry, even though we have to be the foundation, even though we organize, even though we put people in positions of power, yet and still, we're taken advantage of. Yet and still, our voices are being suppressed, y'all. Yeah, that's what we experience. And it's unfortunate that it's even worse for our immigrant community, because they're trying to take care of their families and do all the things, but there are language barriers. Sometimes there are language barriers and cultural differences that they go through, that they're just trying to be here to take care of their families and live that so-called American dream, but yet and still, medical biases. And so I just wanted to say, I see you, I hear you. And even so much as so, my dear sister wanted me to talk about a House Bill 7, which was supposed to uplift black and brown babies. And it was a good bill, $34 million appropriation bill that I sponsored, was directly supposed to impact our babies. Because we got to understand that there are social determinants of health that go into infant mortality, go into black maternal mortality, all of these things. So we got to be willing to go outside the box and think about housing, think about transportation, think about access to health care. And see, that's what that bill was. Started off as a $34 million appropriation. It was going to fund the Fatherhood Commission, was going to do rental supports at home, help me grow. It was supposed to do all these things. And see, where I work at the Ohio State House, they said they wanted to take care of mothers and babies. They said they understood the plight. They said that they seen the statistics. They said that they seen the fact that Ohio was ranked 45 out of all of the states in the country as it relates to infant mortality. So they knew our babies were dying. And they even knew that black and brown babies were dying. Yet and still, this infant mortality bill was stripped of all of its dollars. And instead, y'all, they just gave us crumbs. They gave us little legislative fixes. But they looked us in our eyes and said, they understood. Said that they understood the issues that we were going through. And so we will keep fighting for you all, but need you all to understand that in the midst of all of the issues that we're going through as it relates to infant mortality, maternal mortality, I wanted to make sure I came here to say we are gathered together in this fight. Because even with our differences and even with our likeliness, we are sisters. We are joined together by love. And in some ways, we experience the same things. And so I want to tell you, we are not done fighting for the things we said we cared about. We are not done pushing back against the people who said they cared about us and our babies. So yeah, we're teachers. Yeah, we're leaders. Yeah, we guide. Yeah, we do all of these things. And yeah, we keep momentum going. But it's about time they take care of black and brown women like they said they were going to do. And so I could go on and on, but need you to know we are joint in this fight together. We are arm in arm in this fight together. And we will continue, we should continue, purpose of being here, holding each other accountable and being each other's strength. Because that's what we got here today. And what I've learned in my little 33 years of life, I ain't been here that long on this earth, but what I have learned is there ain't nothing like a sister. You can have all types of friends. Matter of fact, most of my friends are men, but guess what? I learned last few years, it ain't nothing like a sister to guide you through. It ain't nothing like a sister who's been through some things like you've been through. It ain't nothing like a sister to lock arms with you. So, even though we come from different spaces and places, we are locked in together. That's what we do. Listen, I could go on and on, but I say thank you. Thank you. Hopefully I was on topic for you, but thank you all. Again, I'm Representative Latina M. Humphrey. Thank you all so much, and God bless. Peace.
Next, I would like to invite to the stage my sister, Hule Chiam. I was part of her cultural event, the Pulaku, the Festival of the Fulani Culture. And Hule introduced me, and we both remembered how I worked in Guinea among the beautiful and very welcomed Fulani people. And I carry the spirit, even though I'm Tanzanian Russian, but Guineans and Fulani people received me like a daughter. Some cultures raise you by birth, some cultures raise you by love. And I would like to introduce my sweet new friend, Hule Chiam, to read one of her poems.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hule.
You're welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please give Teresa a round of applause. This is an amazing event. When I looked at the flyer, and she's such a great writer. I could read her all day. I could read her flyer. I feel like I'm reading a book. It just resonates with every part of me. When she said, and this was at the last event, she said some cultures raise you by birth, some others raise you by love. I think that's what she said. I'm just like, that's true in so many different ways. And that's why she brings together so many wonderful people from all kinds of backgrounds. And I feel like this is the beginning of something great. I could feel that in my soul. I don't know what it is yet. But thank you all for coming, and thank you to our sister Teresa for making this possible. As she said, I would love to read one of my poems. This poem is called My Accent, and it resonates to what Sister Rep. Humphreys was talking about the different backgrounds, about how we are all somehow tied at the hip, kind of, even though we're all from different backgrounds, because many of us have stories that are connected. Many of us, at the end of the day, wish the best to each other. This poem is called My Accent. It says, on this January morning, I have something on my mind, which is my accent. The way I sound when I talk, as in the accent I have, the accent you may or may not have, how I sound when I speak English. I have heard it all. Huh? Wait, say that again. Oh, you have an accent. Can you repeat that? You have an accent. When did you get here? I wonder how many people believe that only people from other countries have accents. People in the same country living in different regions have accents as well. They have accents that differ from each other as much as they differ from those that are coming from other countries. You may notice this. For example, someone from New York might sound different from someone from Ohio. And someone from Texas might sound different from someone from West Virginia. Okay, back to my accent. Sometimes when I talk, people don't really understand what I'm saying. No, I said sometimes. And sometimes they're fine. But sometimes they aren't, especially when I use long sentences or words, such as when I talk about the gubernatorial race. I'm talking about governor's race. People always ask me what I'm saying because no one never gets that one somehow. Whether the person has known me for a while or they just met me, I always get this when I say that. What's that? What did you say? And I have to repeat myself 2 or 3 times before the other person can understand what I'm saying. That moment when the other person is asking me to repeat myself, and I'm repeating myself to be understood and heard, that moment can be very uncomfortable for both of us. Often our conversation stalls on the roadblock. The other person will might look up, not trying to continue the conversation, sometimes out of fear of offending me, sometimes out of fear of saying the wrong thing, sometimes because they don't feel it's worth the effort to continue the conversation. Often in these situations, often, people avoid to continue the conversation. And often, they would look up, act as if they understood, but sometimes they did not. Sometimes they just avoid continuing. But others push on, even though they know they might just say something that might offend me, or even though I might say something else that they still don't understand. They still push on. They still push on because they are defeating the fear. When they push on, that is when they get the story behind the accent. That is when I get to tell them that this accent is me. This accent is Mauritanian. This accent is Senegalese. This accent is a New Yorker. This accent is an Ohioan. This accent is a social worker by day and an interpreter by night. This accent is Jainaba's sister. This accent is Samba's daughter. This accent is Mamadou's cousin. This accent is a human rights activist. This accent is a social justice warrior. This accent is a high heels hater. This accent is a green collar lover. This accent is a product of 4 languages, ranging from Fulani to Wolof, passing by French and English. This accent is a story of survival in immigration. This accent is a nonprofit executive, youth and hope president. This accent is Natasha's caseworker. This accent is Jasmine's personal advocate. This accent is a poet and a storyteller. This accent is a seed of endless possibilities. Yet this accent is me, all the way me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This accent is me, all the way me, and I am work in progress. When our leaders are preaching about building walls, we can choose not to go that route. We can instead choose to build bridges. When we do give that route, it's an opportunity to build bridges between us. When we build bridges to cross the divide, we connect on our humanness. And when we decide to look beyond the uncomfortableness, we find a way to connect on a human level. And that is the best thing that we can do. Thank you.
Thank
you. So our next part of the program is panel discussion. And I would like to start and give the word for the panelists to introduce themselves. And we are starting from a new friend, Dr. Erica Womack. Dr. Erica Womack, please, round of applause for her. Introduce.
Okay. Hopefully you all can hear me. My voice usually doesn't carry, but I'm Erica Womack, and I am the founder and CEO of Idlewood & Company, which is a data strategy firm. And what we do is launch startups for nonprofits. That entails program design and development, and then also evaluation. So on the program design side and development side, we are focused on building data-driven, innovative, and agile programs. And then on the evaluation side, we are focused on helping nonprofits and government agencies to define, collect, analyze, and leverage their data so that they can create equitable outcomes for the populations that they serve. So that's what I do currently, but I always say that I am an educator at heart. Everything I do has education woven into it, and so I started my career more than 20 years ago as a high school English teacher in Columbus City Schools. I've been an assistant professor at Otterbein, a STEM education entrepreneur company that I co-founded with my husband, also director of a nonprofit, and so now I'm a data strategy firm owner. But all throughout my career, education and equity have been woven through. Equity is at the center of everything that we do on my team. So that's the career side. On the the personal side, I've been married for 20 years. 20 years in July. And then we have 2 daughters, and so my oldest is 18. She's sitting right here on the bench recording, and so she will be dropped off on Wednesday at The Ohio State University. start the following week. She's majoring in chemistry, and then my youngest is entering 7th grade. So glad to be here. Thank you, Teresa, for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next panelist is Haiti from Motherful. Haiti, please, what would you like to share about yourself with us?
Hi, everybody. I'm Heidi Howes. I am a mother of 3 children, ages 21 to 3. And I am a healing artist. I'm a community organizer, musician, and a writer. And I am also the co-founder and co-director of Motherful. Motherful is a 7-year-old grassroots nonprofit. Our mission is to support, empower, and nurture single mother families with education, resources, community, arts, and wellness. And we do that in a number of ways. Essentially, we are a robust mutual aid network by single moms, for single moms. And we are working to solve the problem of abandonment, ritual abandonment of single mothers. And we are also organizing the matriarchy as we speak with a real life community. And currently we're working on a beautiful project called the Motherful Village, which is an eco-village we plan to build here in Columbus for single mothers to live in community together and support each other with the reproductive labor that they toil under. And we also are the first guaranteed income program in Columbus, Ohio, called the Ohio Mothers Trust. We're supporting 32 single mother families with $500 a month for 12 months. Thank you. Very proud of that. And last year, with our budget over $1 million, we gave over half of our budget away directly to single moms in our community, $580,000 worth of food and cash directly to single moms. So we are very proud of what we're doing, and we welcome all of you to come check us out. Thanks so much for having me here.
Thank you very much. Next, we have council member from Columbus City Council, Lourdes de Barroso de Padilla. Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am one of your Columbus City Council members, Lourdes Barroso de Padilla. I'm the daughter of immigrants. I'm first-generation American. My parents are from Cuba, and there is not a direct line from Cuba to Columbus, Ohio. As I'm sure there's not a direct line from any place that y'all are from Columbus. They came here because they knew somebody. So I was born and raised on the east side of Columbus, where I live today. It's also the district that I represent, District 8. It goes all the way from the borders of Bexley to No Bixby Road, down south by Lockbourne, Ohio, and up through Driving Park. It is the largest district in terms of land mass. I actually live in the neighborhood. I'm raising my 2 daughters. I have a rising senior, so we are looking at colleges right now, and a freshman. So they're actually going to be in high school for 1 whole year together, playing soccer together, and it warms my little heart. And on the city council, I chair public service and transportation. That's literally how people move in Columbus. So whether you're on 2 feet, 2 wheels, 4 or more, sidewalks, roadways, etc. And then also coming into city council, even though this does not sit squarely in any of my committees, have always had a strong platform when it comes to women. I think that women are dope. I think that we run and rule the world. And actually, if some of these leaders got out of our way, I think the world would be a much better place. And I think we could have solved some of our problems if we had all of the avenues to do so. And so we put forward some pay equity legislation and done some other supporting organizations like Motherful that directly support women. I think supporting women is supporting communities, supporting families, and we have a healthier city because of it. And then also, as part of my platform, supporting the immigrant, refugee, and migrant community here in Columbus. We started the only immigrant and refugee commission here in Columbus. We, thank you. We just launched it with 15 commission members from across the diaspora. Literally, we have, they speak more than, I think, collectively 25 languages, represent more than 15 countries, or more than 20 countries, I think, collectively, because we all have different identities when we move across the world, and we collect those identities and that representation. And so we're really, really proud of that work. And so I just want to also echo the thanks to Teresa for bringing us together. I think there is power in what we're doing today. I think there's power in our collective, and when we can come together, I think no one is stronger than a mom, but especially an immigrant mom who literally every single day is working on faith. Every day. Right? You crossed an ocean, you crossed a continent, you boarded a plane, you crossed a desert, you got on a boat, something brought you here when you didn't have the language and you weren't sure of what was on the other side. But you did it because of that promise that there was going to be something better for you and your families. And every day you get up and you do what you do on that promise. And so I just want to thank you all for being here. I think I'm excited about the conversation that we'll have today, and I'm excited about continuing partnerships that I'll have, especially that we all have with so many of the folks in the room, because I believe that's how we will, especially in these times when it feels like our identities and our safety is at risk on so many levels. This is how we get by, being together and being in community. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next panelist is my Mauritanian friend, Jenab Agatabash. She's an immigrant mother raising 2 kids here in Columbus, Ohio. Jenab, please tell us about herself.
Yes, thank you for the introduction, Teresa. My name is, as she said, Jana Baba. I'm a mother of 2. I have a 20-year-old. She's at University of Cincinnati, and I have a 12-year-old boy. And I'm originally from Mauritania, like my sister Hulay Cham here, both from Mauritania. So I've been here almost 25 years, I'd say. And as far as my background, I'm a social impact consultant. So my work I do, I've been lecturing or teaching for the past 7 years or so. I also do some research looking at impacts, gendered impacts of projects, large-scale projects. So I'm very much interested in how large-scale projects impact women. Although my research focuses mostly internationally, so I look at mining and other type of projects, and because typically you have policies that are gender blind, that don't take into account that how women are more negatively bear the brunt of the negative impacts of projects. So if you don't take that into account, these policies that are gender blind, then women cannot are more negatively impacted, and they cannot truly benefit from these projects. So for me, it's important in my research to take that into account. And I know that it's taking, currently with the current administration, we know we've seen, everyone's seen how gender has been attacked and how women have been attacked. Any research or any programs that are targeting women have been defunded or attacked. But I still believe in my work, and I still plan to continue doing this work, looking at gendered impact and how women are impacted.
Thank you very much. And finally, Whitney Gordon, representing Queens Village, who are core partner in creating this event together with me. Whitney, please tell us about Queens Village and your journey in Queens Village.
Hi, everybody. My name is Whitney Gordon. I'm a mother of 2. I have a 9-year-old and a terrible 2-year-old. Sending me through it as we speak. I like Teresa said, I am the program manager of Queens Village Columbus chapter. Queens Village was founded in 2018 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it really began by Black women coming together, literally around a kitchen table. They were eating a frozen pizza together, kikiing, and talking about just issues that were impacting them as Black women in Hamilton County. And then out of that, an organic movement targeting infant vitality and the high mortality rate that women were facing in Hamilton County. It just started from there. And then in 2021, post-COVID, they had such great results that they decided to scale it and spread it across the United States. And so I've been a part of that journey from the beginning. Queens Village Columbus was founded in 2022. And essentially, we are a peer-to-peer support for Black women and mothers. We have 5 pillars. One that you'll hear us talk about the most is rest, relax, and repower. As Black women, whether you have a child or not, we often feel like we have to show up and with our proverbial cape when we're tired, when we're sick, when we don't feel like it. And Queens Village is very anti that narrative. So it's showing up whenever you want, however you want, in community, and just allowing your sisters to wrap around you. So rest, relax, and repower is our foundational pillar. After that, it is invest in Black women's leadership, as well as Black women's entrepreneurial economic mobility. And then we also believe in changing the narrative. There's a lot of, stereotypes about Black women and Black mothers and who we are and who our children are, and we are actively fighting against that. And then lastly, it's engaged communities, and community looks different, right? So it's not just, organizations, but it's also the medical community, because as Representative Latina said, Black women are dying, Black babies are dying. So it's very important that as we are trying to evoke change in our community, that we have intentional partnerships with the hospitals so that they can hear what it is that we need as women and as mothers. And so those are the 5 pillars that Queens Village bases our work. We do monthly village meetings. Currently, we are targeting the East Side 43232 because it has one of the highest Black infant mortality rates and other risk factors. Access to prenatal care. If you've ever been out to the Eastland area, you know that it is a food desert, it is a resource desert in all types of ways. And so we really try to be a support and an anchor to that community. And so actually, I don't think there's a rec center in 43232. So we are at Barnett the second Wednesday of every month. You can come get a hot meal, and every month the activity is different. Sometimes it's yoga, sometimes it's paint and sim, sometimes we're just talking. But we want to make sure that we are a pillar for the families in that community, although you're welcome no matter what zip code you live in to attend. We also are very heavy in the political advocacy space. So we do a lot of work with Groundwork Ohio and advocating for policies that we know directly impact our families. And then as of this year, we are starting a community-based doula training that actually launches on August 23rd, Monty? Okay, so we know how great doulas are, and that seems like a buzzword right now, but Black families really do deserve doulas. But then again, going back to that leadership piece of training women from the communities that are going to be serving those communities to become doulas. And so our program, not only is it free of charge, but then we are also paying the women $1,300 to complete the training. And so we're really excited about that. And then we are also engaging teens, right? So let's not wait until you get to be 25 years old or 30 years old and you've learned all of these bad habits and, pushing through trauma and all of these things. We want to get the girls before, they go into their journey of womanhood and teach them how to rest and relax and repower in an intentional way. Because even though they're teen girls, they deserve that too, right? And so really excited about that work, and we're going to be expanding that going into 2026. And then lastly, my daytime job, I am the project manager for OBO, which stands for Ohio Better Birthing Outcomes. And that is a quality improvement initiative between the adult hospitals and Nationwide Children's Hospital. Essentially, again, trying to develop more clinical-based interventions that are going to drive down infant and maternal mortality. So thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes. So Monty and I will be co-hosting this panel discussion. And Monty, can I start first with a question? My first question is, thank you very much for sharing your stories. This is very important. And my first question is to Council Member Lourdes Barroso, Latina, first elected Latina as a council member in Columbus City Council. Woo! So, how has your experience as a Latina leader in Columbus shaped your advocacy for women and families?
It's interesting because I ran for office in 2021. There was a little thing happening called COVID. Don't know if you remember. And, you know, other people were starting like sourdough starters or like getting their like, you know, getting fit or doing their makeup or hair or whatever. And I was like, I should run for office. And I should get 200 signatures when no one's leaving the house, touching each other or talking to other people. And it was really, I mean, I got on the ballot because of Black and brown women. It was a collection of women. Literally, we had spreadsheets. I was driving to people's houses. I had other people driving to people's houses where they were like, come out to the porch and sign this, you know, piece of paper, go back to your car. When I'm done, I'll text you. Then you can come back. Then you can get the petition and you can go back to your car, right? And so it was interesting because I think that time trying to get on the ballot, I think encapsulates my experience being on council, right? I think when you're the first of anything, there's lots of expectations that people have of you. And I didn't come to council saying I was only going to represent the Latina community or the Latino community. I came to council saying there's a segment of the community, and even though I'm not an immigrant myself, when you have immigrant parents, and not just parents, my sisters came when they were both little with my parents, you live an immigrant experience. You are translating for your parents. You are breaking down systems for your parents. You are finding a way, and it never stopped. It wasn't like, I remember when I was little, I was like, my parents know everything. And then the older that they got, the more they leaned on me, especially because, you know, my parents were 60 years old in this country, not 60 years old in Cuba, right? So when they retired, understanding their benefits, understanding what retirement looked like, that wasn't something that they had in Cuba. That wasn't a process that they understood. That never stopped for my parents, right? People think that because you've been in this country 30, 40 years, you understand everything. You don't. I was the first person to go to college in my family. They never filled out a FAFSA form. They didn't know what that was, right? And so I think that those experiences, I started my career as a community organizer with an organization called City Year. And I learned by working in communities, I learned by listening to people, which, by the way, is really hard. I have a 17-year-old. She listens. Does she hear, though? Those are two different things, right? And so I had to listen and really hear people and hear the things that they wanted. And it wasn't always people from another country. It felt like that. I worked in a primarily Appalachian community that was very different than the community that I grew up in, right? But they wanted the same things that brought my parents to this country. And so it was all of those parts of my identity. It was being a community organizer. It was being Latina. It was being the daughter of immigrants. It was growing up between two different cultures that at times were at odds with each other, right? That I wasn't Latina enough, that I wasn't American enough, that I wasn't, you know, trying to explain where I came from. People calling my house like, why is your family arguing? I'm like, arguing? We're having dinner. What do you mean? I don't understand, you know, like, you know, you don't have 45 people that live in your 3-bedroom house? I do all the time, right? You know, like these cultural things that people just didn't understand explaining. And I think for a lot of people, those things, I think that sometimes we're taught community with our eyes and with our head, and we feel it with our hearts, right? And if people could see community through their hearts, it would be different, because the more proximate we are to each other, the more we understand each other, right? The more we understand that even if you are from the west side and you're from the east side, sometimes it feels like you're from two different worlds, right? If you're coming from Bexley and you're coming from the south side, you're coming from two different worlds, right? And so I really felt like I had a different perspective that I could bring to council. I felt like I had a different way of thinking that we hadn't had on council before. And so it's hard, and I think that many of you probably feel this in whatever roles that you have. I'm not the voice of a Latina generation. I'm not the voice of an immigrant generation. I am one person that has had these life experiences, and I think that helps me think different and see things differently. And it also, what it has done is made me think about who's not at the table. When I'm not there, who's not there, right? I work in a male-dominated field. I work in a field where it's also a lot of white men, right? And when I'm sitting at those tables and we're talking about, you know, infant mortality, are we talking about the people who it affects most? And men certainly play a role in that, but how are we ensuring that there are black women at the table? Are we ensuring that there are Latinas at the table? When we started the commission, we made it a requirement that they would be immigrants themselves, or the child of immigrants, so that they were most proximate to the situation. So there's not people talking for us, but that we are talking for ourselves. And I think that that's important, and that's what the perspective that I've tried to bring into my work every day. And I think that that's the experience that all of us have. I think the difference is that many times we are taught, especially in this society, that you have to whiten yourself, that you have to Americanize yourself, that you have to do all of these things to succeed, to be in a place where people will listen to you, when in actuality, everything that you bring about yourself is actually an asset. All the languages you speak, right? Many people in this country only speak one, and they don't even speak it that great, right? You have an experience of experiencing other cultures, of traveling the world. You have an experience of trying to understand one culture and decipher it. All of these things are assets that we bring to the table, but yet people see it as a deficit. And I think once we start to embrace that, and once we start to put that on the table, like, no, this is what's game changing, and actually this is what's missing from the conversation, that is when we really try to start to change the game for each other.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next question. How do you see, this question to all the panelists, whoever wants to answer, please. How have you seen motherhood act as a bridge between class, race, gender, and culture? What's the answer to this question? Katie?
How have I seen motherhood act as a bridge
between class, race, culture, and gender?
It's a really easy question. Very softball question.
I can speak from my own personal experience. I became a single mother in 2011. And before 2011, I hadn't really thought about single motherhood much, although I was raised in a family that was... Someone asked me the other day, oh, you probably grew up in a nice neighborhood and you didn't lock your doors. And I was like, that's true. But the inside of my home was very violent. I grew up in a very patriarchal home. There was domestic violence, and my mother was very oppressed. And so, but I hadn't thought much about single motherhood, before I became a single mom. And I learned a lot really fast. I learned that my education and my race didn't save me from the perils of single motherhood and the poverty that I experienced in single motherhood. And so I realized in that journey that I had way more in common with single mothers who were poor, and single mothers who were Black, and single mothers who were immigrants than I did with white mothers, my own kin. And so it took me a long time to deconstruct motherhood, TM. The white woman's motherhood that we're fed as the comfortable motherhood, the easy motherhood, the joyful motherhood, because that was not my experience. And so when I met my co-founder, Lisa Woodward, and we talked about single motherhood, and we talked about how the stigmas and the struggles and what we had in common actually is what brought us together to build something, because we realized that no one was coming to save us. And so we said, let's do it together, and let's build something collective like what our ancestors had, and what many people around the world in the global south and the majority of mothers still experience, right? But that we do not, in our isolation, in our postpartum depression, and perinatal mood disorders. All of those things affect so many mothers, and specifically Black and brown mothers disproportionately, of course. And so what I realized is that I was better off organizing with BIPOC mothers and for the rights and the needs and the resources that we needed together to build a future for our children. So for me, the journey of single motherhood really brought me into the experience of empathy for all the mothers who don't get represented, in the world. And so we work to bridge that gap every single day in our organization. And in fact, if you come to Motherful, I'm in the minority, and at the same time, it's a place where I get to be my authentic self. And there aren't many spaces in the world where I get to do that. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being the bridge. Thank you very much, Katie.
Wait, can I also say
Yes.
one other thing? My friend sent me this the other day. It was this journalist on Instagram, and she's been doing these, she's Indian, and she's been doing these interviews with her mom and her aunt, and they're both funny but very poignant. And one thing that her aunt said the other day that I thought, it just kind of struck me, she said, "I love my children unconditionally. I love being a mother. I don't love motherhood." And I think what's interesting is that I think to the point that you make, I think that I grew up in a house where, my mom and, I lost my mom like 6 months ago, so it's hard to sometimes talk about her, but we're pushing through. My mom's whole life was her kids, right, and our family. And what's challenging about that is that when my mom lost my dad, and then subsequently lost my sisters, she lost part of her identity that she couldn't get back. And I think that we are taught, and especially in cultures around the world, sometimes motherhood isn't a choice for us. Like, we live in a country where you can choose, and you can choose the different ways that you want to mother. And sometimes you don't even get that choice at that time. And so I think that it's important that as we talk about, thank you so much. I should have brought my own because I know how this goes. But I think so much when we talk about motherhood, we talk about what's amazing about it, and we don't talk about the challenges of it. And we don't talk about breaking down some of those stigmas, not just for ourselves to truly support each other, but also to be better for our daughters. Right? That I want my daughters to understand that, like, part of being a woman doesn't mean you have to be a mother. And and if you choose to be, it's not always going to be your favorite thing, right? That it is going to be hard. And I think that it's that changes how women think as leaders. You talked about non-gendered studies. I mean, studies have shown women are better leaders because we find compromise, because of the way that we think, because you're constantly being tested in that way. Sometimes I think the arguments between my daughters at home are no different than my colleagues having an argument at work, right? Or people in the community and how they're reacting, or how they want their needs and how they show up. So I think it's just important for us to acknowledge that motherhood is complex. And while for some it is a gift, for all of us at some time, it is also the hardest thing that you will ever do. And it is both heartbreaking, and it is both joyful, and it can be all of those things. But I think that that is what makes motherhood. That's what, if you are a woman or a person who identifies as a woman who is mothering, that is the game changer. Because your mind constantly has to work in these dichotomies that work against each other, that people just don't talk about, and we don't give ourselves the grace to live in that space and still be like, but I'm still good at this. But I'm still good at this.
Thank you very much. It's very, very deep and very heartfelt. Erica, do you want to add something?
No, she said it.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. Let's speak about community and support. Can you ladies remember any instances where community and support, not even of your relatives, but your sisters, your community sisters and friends, made you rethink motherhood in a positive way?
Repeat the question, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you remember of any instances or any examples where community, not necessarily your relatives, but your friends, your community sisters, made you rethink about motherhood in a positive way, where you received immense support?
Yeah. So I can speak from my personal experience. To your point, I think a lot of times when women get pregnant or they're expecting or having a child, they think that the motherhood journey is going to look one way, right? Or that it should look one way. And because it's natural that it's easy, when in fact it is it's a disservice to say it's the hardest thing that you've ever done, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can remember having my daughter. I've always been a single mother. And so having my daughter, and I think, unfortunately, in the environment that I grew up, single motherhood was the baseline, the expectation. So that wasn't like a shock for me that I was a single mom. But what was a shock to me was that I thought because having a baby was natural, that it was all of the things you needed to be good at it was going to just like, I don't know, have the baby and then it just come, I don't know. You just put it on your back like a like I'm patient now. Like, no, I'm not. But literally the only time that I've ever felt like suicidal in my life was in that postpartum period, right? Because I'm struggling. Like, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what you want from me. I'm trying to breastfeed. They said it was natural. They said you were going to know what you needed to do. And I'm like, alone, back, crib, what? You don't want any of that. And literally was on the brink of literally going to do something irrational. And I'm not from Columbus. I'm a Cincinnati transplant. And so all of my family and my friends and everybody I grew up with were not here. And so there was and I think they're still around. At the time they were called Black Women Do Breastfeed. I think they have rebranded to Black Lactation. I can't think of their name, unfortunately, right now. But they really took me in, right? A complete group of strangers, but they were all Black women, all black mothers, children of different ages, but they're like, I have breastfed, or I am breastfeeding now, and that community really just saved me. And when I think back about how they showed up for themselves and for the women in that room, it really inspires me being a leader in Queens Village to hone in on that energy and that promise. So.
Thank you.
So for me, my own experience going through the doctoral program when I was studying for 6 years, so it was a long journey and tough journey. I had, my son was maybe, when I started, he was about 4 or 5. So I have a special needs son, and my daughter was probably 14 or so when I started. So I found community at the university with my advisors. So my advisor, she's just an exceptional person, Dr. Linda Lebau and Dr. Kathy Rakowski, the 2 women there. They also had children. They had gone through it. They knew what I was going through, and they provided the support, the understanding and the flexibility for me to go through this the program. Yes, without their support, I wouldn't have made it. I'm pretty sure. So I'm very grateful for the support they provided and their understanding.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please. And I'm glad you brought up the doctoral program. Going through that, you feel like you're being hazed, and so community and going crazy, imposter syndrome, all of that. Yes. But grateful for one of my professors, Dr. Cynthia B. Dillard. I don't know if you all have read Bell Hooks's Sisters of the Yam, but she had us read that, and she built a community around that book. So we call ourselves SODI for short, and there's 4 of us that still are in contact to this day. And that group she put together, I think, in like 2012, 2011, and so we went through our doctoral program together. We had babies at the same time, wrote papers together, built some businesses together. So that group just kind of saved me as well going through that program. Another example I would say is just having a texting group. So I have a group of friends. I think somebody named it Mamas Who Love Their Children. And so I have Fevin here, one of my little sisters, but she always would complain, like, why don't you have your phone on when I'm texting and calling? I don't have it on because that group constant all day long, and so I cannot take all the ding, 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 ding. So that's one of the groups why I don't have my phone on any time of the day. But that group, we share resources, we talk politics, we pray together. Like when you mentioned a mom you had in mind, one of them asked for prayer the other day, so that's who I was thinking about. But that is another group that keeps me going, and we're all trying to raise our kids to be the best that they can be, in this world that, wants to, oppress us and keep us down on a daily basis. So I'm thankful for those two communities of support that oftentimes will support me more than my family does.
Yes, it's especially important for us, for immigrant mothers,
Right.
whose families are far away, and we have to find our new families here abroad. Yes. Thank you very much. I would like to ask this question next to my nonprofit leaders here, Heidi and Whitney. What do you wish more policymakers and community leaders understood about the daily leadership of single mothers?
Well, one, that we're not looking for a savior, right? Like, we really do. We've been doing it. No matter if the world stops tomorrow, we got this. And so I really wish that they understood that we really are looking for allyship, because there's, places and spaces that we're never going to be able to walk in a lot of times, but we do have our solutions. So we're not looking for you to create them for us. I think Black women, Black mothers, single mothers are very good, very creative, right? And very resourceful. So we know what it is that we need. We know what it is that we want. We're really just looking for that allyship and for that listening ear to take it to the places and spaces and rooms that we're not invited to, but invite us, please, because if we could have the opportunity to speak for ourselves, we absolutely would. But we certainly are not looking for, a magic bullet or anything like that, or any type of savior. We're just looking for our voices to be heard and implemented in real ways, not in the ways that a lot of times politicians say they're going to implement them.
Creating more inclusive rooms.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is what we're doing today. Heidi, would you like to add anything?
Well, we have one of the best here, one of the best advocates for mothers in our city here. Thank you, Lourdes, for everything that you do. I want to remind policymakers that mothers are the original leaders.
Yep.
Yes.
Mothers are the first leader. Susanna Budapest likes to say there are only two kinds of people: mothers and their children. But I want to remind policymakers that we need to fight for mothers and children like never before. And we need to make the changes that are long overdue for especially Black and brown mothers and their children in this country. So we cannot wait. We have to push as much as we can to redistribute the resources that have been hoarded and stolen from us based on our labor, on the labor especially of Black mothers on this land, right, which was stolen, extracted, and continues to be. For the labor that is continually ongoing. So we really need a revolution in policy that is going to center mothers and children, or we will not survive. And frankly, center the earth. Center the earth as her own person. Give her rights, give her a voice, because we are going to die. We are going to die. We are dying, actually, especially single mothers, Black single mothers. We lost a mother in our collective this year. Her 4-year-old son, she was one of our Ohio Mothers Trust recipients, and we couldn't save her. A young mother, she has a 4-year-old son who now her elderly mother is taking care of, and this is real life resources. This is money that she needed. This is support that she needed, wraparound support. Policymakers have got to center mothers and children, period. Yeah. Mothers and children first. And I know Lourdes is on board with that. I know that you're working as hard as you can inside of these systems that were never made for us and never will be. So we think, let the mothers lead, let the mothers lead, let the mothers lead.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, Monty. Questions?
So I know a few minutes ago we were talking a lot about community and how groups of women, mentorships, professors, friends rallied around you when you really needed them, and I think that is really important. My name is Monty, and I'm first a community leader, but I'm also a community member, sorry. I'm also
You
a
a
mom.
leader too.
That's not what I was trying to say, no. I'm a mother. I have a 10-year-old son. I am on the Queens Village board as a community liaison. So an example of one of their pillars of investing in the leadership of Black women. I'm also a mother in the collective of Motherful, so I volunteer with them. And when I was unemployed, I was able to leverage their food pantry and being a part of these organizations.
You got this. It's okay. Let it out.
Just really important to me in this moment in my life. And talking about how mothers give, how we show up in community, coming to this event, mingling with each other. We're always giving, but oftentimes we don't take enough time to rest and give into ourselves. And so I just kind of wanted to ask, what do you do for yourself to make sure that you are resting to level out as much as you give back to your communities?
Well, my favorite word is no. It always has been, and I got in trouble in school a lot because of that. The personality I have now, I had as a 3-year-old, and back then you could whoop kids in school. So, yeah, got in trouble a lot. But seriously, no, really, I don't know it sounds cliche, but it really is okay to say no. And people in this room that know me personally, y'all know, no, I can't do it, can't make it, because this is the only life that I'm going to live, right? And if I'm matriculating through it, tired and worn down, I'm not going to be able to be here for myself and for my kids and for my village and my family and my friends. I want to live the most robust life, and so it really does start with, you have to pour into your cup first. Before you take care of your kids or your husband, you come first. It's your life, not theirs. And so I love the word no. And I know that that sounds so cliche, but if y'all are looking for ways to say no, holler at me, because I got you.
So this was more years ago than I care to admit, but my best friend was having her 40th birthday party, and in my best friend group, there's many of us. A good majority of them were single moms when we were younger. I mean, like coming out of high school, had kids, or right after high school. And then I got married. I was the first to get married. I was in my 30s, right? So we all had careers and all these responsibilities and all these other things. And, I definitely came from, again, I came from a culture. My mom would be like, why are you going to pay somebody to clean your house when you can clean your house? You know what I mean? Like, you have no money, but you're going to go out with your friends and spend money? What do you mean you're going out with your friends? What about Ernesto? He's taking care of the girls by himself. I'm like, yes, because they're his. Like, he's not babysitting. This is his job. Like, he's the actual dad. So we go on this vacation, right, where we go to Jamaica and we're like on the beach. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I was so tired. I was just so tired and I wanted to take a nap. And I was like, but I can't take a nap because, as a mom, you're like, especially on the beach, you're like, where my kids are going to drown. They're going to, there's going to be like a sand opening and they're going to fall in. Like, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I'm like with adults. Like, if they drown, that's on them. Like, I can close my eyes. And it was like, it really was like this moment where I thought to myself, like, I should do this more. Mm-hmm. Like, I should... Yes, I'm going to come home and, like, take a bath, and I'm going to lock the door and don't knock on it. Yes, I'm going to take a weekend vacation with my friends. And I started telling, I would tell my girls, like, you have a life, mommy has a life, and we have a life together. You go to overnights with your friends, I'm going to go to overnights with my friends. You have play dates, I'm going to have play dates, right? And even when my mom was looking at me sideways and, I felt like there was judgment there, those times, and I remember one of my friend's moms was telling me that when she was in nursing school, her friends from nursing school, and she was like retired at this point, always went on a weekend getaway, right? And they had done it for like 30 years. And she's like, some of us couldn't go because we had kids or we had other things or money was tight or whatever, but we always had this time. And I remember her looking at my husband and saying to him, this is almost as important or almost more important than the time that you two have together, because if she doesn't feel like a person in the world, she can't show up for any of you. Right. She can't show up and be a good wife. She can't show up and be a good mother. She can't be a good community leader. Like, she needs that time. And that time when I can be with my friends and just like, I can go to sleep, I can take a nap, I can eat, I can drink, I can like do whatever I want to do, and just have these good cries and talks, I think is so important, and all of us may not be able to do, you may not be able to always jump on a plane and go to, Jamaica or whatever, right? But even if it's like, we have girlfriend sleepovers sometimes, right? We do these things. We have bee brunch. Fill in what you think the bee is. But we have that, right? And that's our time to like tiki and spill the tea and do all this stuff. Like, that is just as important, especially now, where I just feel like I give so much. Like, where I can just go and I'm Lourdes. I'm not a council member. I'm just one of the girls. And they will tell you that. They will be like, you ain't council member today. Like, you ain't in charge of nothing today. And I'm like, good. You can go lead. Like, those things are critical. And I think that we all need to find that time where you can just be with the people who love you most, who pour into you, even when it's not intentional. It doesn't mean that all the attention needs to be on you and we're bringing gifts. It's just like, we're here. I could go through a whole bee brunch and not even talk and leave feeling like restored. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have to, right? And so I think every woman needs to find those people and find that time. And it's okay. And like, no matter what your mama says or your grandmother or your auntie or the other women in your community, like, it's okay. If they don't do that, that's fine, because that's what you need to do for you.
Yeah, that's very important.
To add to that too, I would say also part of wellness is if you have a partner or you're seeking to have one, finding somebody that's emotionally healthy and balanced, that adds to the wellness. My husband, I can say that I feel like he is one of the most emotionally healthy people that I know. He helps to keep me balanced, has a very high EQ. So I've been talking to my eldest daughter here, because she's been in a relationship for I think over a year, and just talking to her about making sure that he is emotionally balanced and healthy. So that is that adds to, you feeling like you're restored and you're edified if you have, a partner that has a high EQ. Yes. So I know people have that list, and usually that's not on the list. It's credit score, again, he has that muscles, and I'm always talking to my mentees and little sisters about those things. But just making sure that the emotional healthiness is at the top of the list.
Thank you very much. Yes. Katie? Yes, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think it's important for women just to invest in themselves, because sometimes, unfortunately, society can make you feel guilty for doing things for yourself as a mother, as if you shouldn't have a life or aspirations as a woman, Yes, we love our kids. We do everything for our kids. Put them in good schools and move across town just to be in a neighborhood in a good school for our kids. But we also have to invest in ourselves. If you need to go, if that means going back to school, then yes. You shouldn't let anyone let you feel guilty about it, and it's never too late. I know women, we always, they put a cap on when you should stop, but it's never too late to pursue your dreams. So never too late to go back to school, to do what you love, and just invest in yourself. Exercise is important, so dedicate some time for that. Take some solo trips.
Solo travel, yes. Yes. When I was 7 months pregnant, I said, Michael, for the last time in my life, I was thinking, I want to feel like a rich, do you like you said? rich one, and I went to solo travel. And while I was driving, I was 7 months pregnant, I was thinking, this is probably my very last time that I'm taking solo trip. But Janabi reminded me that.
It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
I want to add. I'd like to add to that I had to learn this the hard way. Building an organization in the middle of a pandemic, and the need is so great. I mean, we are getting, especially now, we're getting so many more inquiries where moms are saying, like, I'm about to be homeless. I don't know how I'm going to support my kids. Like, the need is so great from single mothers right now in this moment in time, and I feel like that single mothers are especially like the canary in the coal mine, you know, along with immigrants, of course, but you know, all the intersections of those things. We have those moms coming to us, and I personally just felt, especially when we launched our food pantry in May of 2020, like we were like, it's time. You know, we launched our community garden, we launched our online community for single moms because we were like, moms are gonna die, kids are gonna die. We gotta figure something out together. And you know, it was just go for the last 5 years especially. And I had a child. I gave birth at 46 years old, and I'm a stubborn Taurus, so of course I learned things the very hard way. So I kept going. Like, I had my first children when I was in my late 20s, so I thought, oh, I got this, you know, and I kept doing everything that I was doing after having, you know, a cesarean and after having another abdominal surgery in the same year. And so last year in February, my back went out, and I was collapsed for 6 months. And a lot of that was also due to my anguish over the multiple genocides happening around the world and wanting to change that reality in our world, you know, and the anger and the sheer devastation that we're all experiencing, watching this in our phones and feeling completely helpless that our dollars, my tax dollars, are doing this, you know. And so all of that, it created a big fallout for me, and I was in bed for about 6 months last year. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, I was in excruciating pain every day, and so I had to learn and tell my immigrant husband who said we're not hiring anyone to clean, and I had to say, actually, I can't clean now. Actually, I can't lift my child now. So we get to have support, be the support, get the support that we are for other people. And so I'm still learning how to do this, and but I'm really grateful for the amazing examples that I have around me too. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the conversation. And finally, I have a couple more questions that I prepared for each panelist. Question to Dr. Erica Womack. What advice would you give to women in Columbus who want to lead in spaces where they don't see many like them, like us?
I would say the person that's near and dear to my heart gave me some good advice, even though at the time I wanted to knock his head off. But, to provide some context, I was in a role where, you know, I felt like with the people I was working with that didn't look like me, that didn't have a voice or, you know, couldn't necessarily make the decisions I wanted to make or wasn't being heard. And so I guess he got tired of me complaining about it, and it was one night where he was like, lead or leave, lead or leave, lead or leave. And so he was like pretty much yelling, and you know, in that moment when you are frustrated, you don't want feedback like that. You want to listen, you want, you know, him to be very much like on your side. And so he was frustrated with me complaining, and he's like, have you done all that you can do in this particular role? And, you know, I had to say, after a couple days of, you know, not being mad anymore at him, you know, being frustrated like that, say no, I had not. So we talked. I gave myself like a 1 year, I guess, deadline to really exercise to the fullest extent my zone of genius. And, you know, I was leading, other people were able to see, you know, in the organization, outside of the organization, me leading, but then I hit another ceiling almost a year to the date of him saying lead or leave. And so I chose to lead that year, but then when I hit this other ceiling that I knew I could not go beyond, I said, I'm leaving. So I would just say, if you're in spaces where, people do not look like you and you feel like you have exercised, again, everything that you can do, you have led to the fullest extent, fully captured your zone of genius, and there's nothing else you can do, leave. Because they're not going to necessarily, value your gifts, and you don't want to stay in a situation where you are maybe experiencing, chronic stress or it's toxic. Lead or leave. That's what my advice would be.
Thank you very much. And we have a few West African women here, and we have Gianaba and Hulecham, who are Fulani women. Fulani is a very big ethnic group in Western Africa. I'm completely charmed by this culture. And last we were sipping coffee with Gianaba a couple of, maybe almost a year ago. We were just drinking coffee, and I was thinking, why West African Fulani women are so generous, so kind, so receiving, so welcoming. And Gianaba shared a very interesting concept, which is called Pulaku, a code of conduct in the Fulani communities. Could you please share with us what is Pulaku and how it is important for your community?
Yes, so it might vary for person to person, but for me, what it means to be Fulani growing up, I go back to what my parents inculcated, the values they inculcated to me. What they taught me was important: respecting elders, respecting people, humility, dignity, and hospitality. So I think the most important, I would say, humility and respect are two of the most important, because humility means you're humble, you need to listen to people, you listen to different perspectives, and that has impacted the way I do my work, the way I do research, and I've also tried to transmit those values to my children. We do our best, that modesty and humility, because even in leadership, if you don't have humility, then it's hard to achieve those solutions that you envision or that you want. So leading with humility and respecting elders. And I know that can, navigating that is a bit complex, difficult in the U.S. with growing up, like the parents are sort of like God figures. It's like the respect, you respect your parents, you don't talk back to them, you don't, you do what they say. But I know here's a bit different. Children have more voice, which is good. I recognize that that's a good thing. So I've had to adjust and learn a little bit. And learn that not just because someone is older doesn't necessarily mean they're always right or they always have the right solution, but at least, we still interact respectfully. So even if you don't agree with someone who's older than you or elders, you still interact in a respectful way. So respect is very important.
Thank you very much. Respect is very common in many African and East Asian and Asian communities. Probably if you know me, you know my story, but those who don't know me, my father was Tanzanian man, and my mom is a Russian-speaking Belarusian woman. And my father was very, very respectful to my mother's parents. In fact, my mother's parents were hard of hearing, they were deaf. And my father was a newly arrived African student in the Soviet Union. Russian is a very hard language. Russian Sign Language is harder on top of that. But my father was so well equipped with manners, he found a fantastic common language with my deaf, white Russian grandparents. And they said, Elizabeth, my mom, you must marry this man. Yes, and today we're sharing some intimate stories, but when my grandfather was dying, the only person whom he wanted to see was my father. That is what respect does to people. Thank you very much. Now on a funnier thing, Well, Montedalo prepared a fun question, not serious at all. Yes. If we were to design a dream project for mothers and women in Columbus, Ohio, what would it be? Who wants to start?
Oh, you know I got ideas.
Katie, please.
I mean, so Motherful is already developing the Motherful Village, which is a co-housing development where mothers, single mothers especially, will live together in community, supporting each other with childcare, creating businesses together, farming together, you know, all of these things, bringing us back to the land, bringing us back to each other as mothers. I had a dream that showed me how the patriarchy overtook women was by separating mothers. So when mothers gather, and we experience this every week at Motherful, when mothers gather, and I'm sure you do too, there's a special power and energy. So for me, I've been dreaming about a Columbus Mothers Commission. I've been dreaming about matriarchal councils everywhere around the world that are bringing values of the mother forward. And so I really feel like because mothers are often discounted, mothers are often invisible, and we literally, what's the mother's strike happened one day in which country was it? Finland or something, or Iceland? And after that, everybody said, okay, you can have whatever you want. So all we have to do is strike for one day, and right? But no, I mean, I'm dreaming about like a commission for mothers and grandmothers where mothers and grandmothers can really lay out, here's what we need to be doing. Yeah. Here's how we help communities, you know, and maybe it's in every neighborhood, but yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Whitney?
I just want to add to that. I think that is, you kind of hit the nail on the head, and there's so many ways that I can answer this, but for me as an organizational leader, it's really important that whatever the project or initiative is it drilling down to the root cause. I cannot stand to throw money at a Band-Aid. I mean, and sometimes it's necessary, right, in some instances, but when I just hear you speak, Heidi, about like that is getting down to the root causes of things and putting our perspectives and our voices in the spaces that it has to be in, and I love stuff like that. So call me.
Let's go.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Well, first of all, I love this idea of a village. I remember I was talking, I don't know if it was me and you who were talking or someone else, but they were telling me that they often tell single moms, if you're going to find a place if you're going to think about a place where you want to live, go live where there are immigrants, because naturally we just, you know, you make soup and you have extra, you go take it to your neighbor, right? Like I remember, you know, even in my neighborhood growing up, there were not Latinos, but my mom would always send me to someone's house because we made extra something, or someone loved this, or, you know, my parents used to roast pigs, and my dad used to slaughter the pig himself, and every part of it was something that we would give away to someone. We knew they liked this. They make something out of the tripas. It's Thank you. I was like, what's tripas in English? But they make, you know, we used to do that. I mean, it's just like, it's ingrained in us to think about community. And so this idea of a village, but I love that project, and Heidi and I have been conspiring and talking about this, but honestly, if there was something that I could do, like if I had a magic wand and I could do whatever, is that I would make sure that every woman is paid what she is worth. Period. I think that we need, it's not just, I mean, pay equity legislation was like an inch forward, but I think we need to just ensure that women make as much as they are worth, that they show up, that they get paid equally as their male counterparts, that women are paid for all of the work that we do. I think part of the idea of universal income isn't like a handout. It's just that a woman working at home, that is unpaid work. Yes. Period. Yes. You are cleaning a house, you are taking care of kids. By the way, all those are actual other people's jobs. You know what I mean? Like, right? You pay a babysitter, you pay someone to come clean your house, right? You pay that restaurant to cook your meal, you pay someone to deliver it to you, and we do all of that for free. You know, you take care of elders, you do whatever. And so when I think about how do we compensate women, I mean, when you think about centering women, that's it. I mean, if we make sure that you earn more, we're all going to be better for it. period, right? Because you have better outcomes. You can live in a nicer neighborhood. You can live in a nicer apartment. You can, all the things that you want to invest in, you can have because we've invested in women and we've made sure that they can take care of their needs and the needs of all the people they care for. And if you think about this today, go home and list all the people who you care for. And imagine that you could properly take care of all of them. Imagine if you could properly take care of all of them.
Thank you very much. Thank you much. Erica?
I would say, and it kind of goes in line with what you were just saying, probably a fund that every woman in Franklin County could get that's unrestricted. Just because I have so many friends that want to do other things and they feel like they can't leave their job or their role because of lifestyle creep. If I take this other job that I know I will enjoy more, my kids may not be able to do this sports activity, or I may not be able to do the brunching as much, or drive this car, and so just maybe $25,000 or something like that, so they could just play and imagine and conjure up possibilities for themselves and see what they could do if they had just extra funds set aside to imagine. So that would be my dream project.
Yes.
Can I say one more thing? I just want to uplift one of our sister organizations called Loving Black Single Mothers. So we are actually their fiscal sponsor. Motherful sponsors them, and through their organization, we were able to distribute $30,000 to 6 Black single moms last year. So that is actually happening. That unrestricted funding. Those
You're
moms.
not watching it, right?
No strings attached. So 4 of our Motherful moms were recipients of that amazing program. So please check out lovingblacksinglemothers.com. And I've seen the power of that investment in mothers and Black single mothers, especially through this and with our Ohio Mothers Trust, and how it just changes the whole game. Yeah.
Thank you, Janaba.
Yes, I'll just echo what everyone said. Dream of a world where maybe reproductive labor is valued, unpaid labor is valued. Women have to not only do paid labor but also unpaid labor, so productive labor and reproductive labor. They deal with triple burden or double burden in the community, and household chores, taking care of children. So maybe radically, if we could have partners and husband helping more, supporting women more in that area as well, taking on more responsibilities so they can alleviate women's burden.
Thank you very much. Dear guests, are there any questions that you would like to ask our panelists? Please come closer, because soon we're going to dance. Come closer. Any questions? No questions? Oh, please. Yes, please.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. My name is Erica Gordon. I am a maternal advocate. I'm a doula, and I'm creating an app called Health Harmony Connect. I know that there's a lot of debt, and our representative earlier was talking about the Band-Aid. You talked about the Band-Aid. So, as a person who is in tech, who is creating a solution to something, I'm also getting my master's. When they always tell me the same data, I was like, I don't really want to hear this for real. Like, if you're not trying to give me a way to do it, I don't want to hear this because you're not really helping me. Like, I need you to be an accomplice. I need you to be not an ally. We passed that, right? I need you to be a co-conspirator. So, is there anything that's coming up that y'all foresee happening with tech for maternal health right now?
You're doing that right now. I mean, one thing I would say is that 2 things. We have someone from the chamber. Are they still? Tanya still here? Did she head out? We have someone from the Columbus Chamber that we have a variety of programs that actually are sponsored through this Columbus City Council at the Columbus Chamber. We also have Vice Chair, Economic Development and Small Business Development, along with Councilmember Nick Bankston, who, I mean, my dad was a small business owner, and Councilmember Bankston has family members that were. This is something that's near and dear to our heart. He has made lots of different opportunities possible. I mean, some of the programs that you see downtown, lowering rent so that some of the businesses can actually afford to be downtown and have a presence here, because we know that, especially during lunch hour, that what brings people downtown, it's a game changer for some of these companies that are opening up second locations or even first locations. So I would encourage you to reach out to our offices and to look at the opportunities that we have to talk to the chamber, because we have made, even at the chamber, we have a program specifically for immigrant refugee communities and business owners, right? We have a program at the Guadalupe Center that we're sponsoring that's strictly in Spanish for Latino entrepreneurs, right? Like, we are really looking at how do we remove barriers for people, how do we make things more accessible, and how do we provide them with capital, because we know, especially these communities, they are entrepreneurs in spirit, because when people put a bunch of barriers in your way, what do? We find a way around it, right? And so if that means I'm going to do the thing that I know how to do, and I'll do it for my people, and I'll figure out how to do it, that's what we do, right? If the barriers are too much. So I would say reach out to us, but you are doing the work right now. I mean, you're doing something that I haven't heard of yet, right? And so I would just encourage you to, I think the other thing, we asked the question before about politicians. I will say this, at least I will speak for myself and my colleagues, right? Which is something, by the way, that our State House does not do. I would never put a piece of policy forward that we did not have public engagement in, or that didn't already come from one of our partners. Because I do know that you are going to be closer to Black maternal health than I am, right? And it doesn't matter if tomorrow I started to try to get a PhD in it, you're still going to be worlds ahead of me, right? You are still more proximate to the problem. So, when we talk to our partners and we come to us, that is how we inform policy, right? Our State House doesn't do that. We have public hearings, we engage with people, we put out policy and say, what do y'all think, right? And we take that in. That doesn't mean that the final product is going to be everything everyone wanted, right? But what it does mean is that we're inching closer to those solutions. Our State House, tomorrow, a state senator could come up with something. They don't have to do one hearing. They don't have to do any public engagement. They never even asked somebody if that was going to work, right? And so that's why your local officials matter, and that's why building relationships with them matter. So I would just say that for anybody in the room, if you have that idea, if there is something that you're working on, I guarantee that we probably already have a program for it, and if we don't, let's partner with you to remove the barriers to make that dream come alive.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause. Oh, please, Fabian.
Yes, okay. Hi, my name is Feven. I'm a daughter of refugee and immigrant mother. So thank you all. My question was for Dr. Ba. I wanted to ask you, as a Fulani woman journeying to America, what are some ways you are preserving yet adapting culture to your perspective as a African mother?
Good question. Put me on the spot. Yes, I think it was Lourdes who mentioned feeling sometimes being pulled in two separate directions. Is that you? You mentioned. So, are you're not? Sometimes you might be accused of not being Fulani enough, and then you're not American enough. You're not so and so, or feeling that you're navigating between two worlds. So when we go back home, we're seen maybe as these, now that we've been abroad so long, so you might be seen as not being culturally close to your culture enough. But I try to pull from both cultures. I see positive everywhere. I think this is a unique perspective we have as immigrants. So we're familiar with both cultures. We know some nuances that someone who's not from the culture might not truly understand. I don't know if I can give you maybe a more concrete example for that. But in general, I would say I try to preserve my culture, some of the good values that I see from my culture that I was taught growing up, like humility, respect, hospitality, preserve those. But I try to also learn from this new culture that have adopted me in the U.S. So I learn independence, I learn self-sufficiency, and which maybe a little bit of individualism, it's not always bad, because we live, from where I come, it's more collective society, where maybe being individualistic might be seen in a negative way, but it's not always bad if it means becoming self-reliant, self-sufficient, going after your goals. So I try to balance. That's it.
I just wanted to say one other thought that I also have, for first-gen kids, and I see it with my kids. Now I'm raising my kids. My kids are Puerto Rican and Cuban, and they've had the opportunity to go back to both. I mean, Puerto Rico is obviously easier, so they've spent like a month there or whatever with their grandparents when they were younger. But one thing that is prevalent that I would encourage folks to look at is, there is something called a third culture, right? So it's like the evolution of culture. It's like, so if you think about this, think about New Yorkers or Miami Cubans, right? The Cuban sandwich in Miami, that was just a sandwich. It's now a Cuban sandwich because it's in Miami, right? Like, people have grown up for generations, Cubans who have grown up in Miami, they created a culture that they're not even close to what Cuban culture was, right? They reinvented it. They took pieces and parts of it, and it is rooted in who we are, but it's still an evolution of what that culture is. And so I see it in my kids, right? Like I think about, again, New Yorkers. There's more Puerto Ricans stateside than there are Puerto Ricans on the island, right? And so when they went to places like New York and Chicago and other places, they started the Chicano movement, right? This was, once a good portion of this country was Mexico. And so they took and they evolved that culture, right? The tacos that you're eating in, San Antonio, Texas, are not the tacos that you're going to have in, somewhere in Mexico, right? So I think that the acknowledgement of the evolution of culture is one that I think gives our kids a little bit more, they don't have to question themselves, right? And I also think that we need to give grace to our kids about making it okay that they are who they are, right? Like, we made these sacrifices for them to be here, and then when we ourselves are like, you're a no sabo kid, that for us means you don't, it's like the incorrect way to say you don't know in Spanish, and they've absorbed it. I think when we look at that and we judge them for being less than, why did we make all these sacrifices then, right? Like, you can't say there's this trade-off, but it's okay to say you can be both. Last thought, my mom used to, when she would learn how to make meatloaf, my mom would make us meatloaf with plantains and black beans and rice. And that's how we ate meatloaf in my house, right? And I would be like, yo, that's me on a plate, right? Like, that's like me, that encapsulates who I am, but my parents never made me choose. And so that's just one thing that I would say to folks, is that raising kids where I'm trying to preserve culture, when I know I've lost some of my own, and I don't want them to lose it, is challenging. But I think finding those outlets and making a space where it's okay to be both.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, thank you very much for the panelists. Very deep and interesting conversation. Thank you very much for your questions. And now, maybe an unexpected twist on our afternoon. I would like to invite my friend, Dr. Lucille Toth. Yes, Dr. Lucille Toth is Associate Professor from the Ohio State University from the Department of French Language and Literature, and also the founder of a project, Uplifted Immigrant Women, which is called On Board Hers. And I would like to give the stage to Dr. Lucille Toth and tell more about your project.
Sure. Are you ready to dance a little bit? you better, because we're gonna dance. The tools, maybe. I started dance movement therapy or healing sessions, and so we tell our journey from wherever we come from, and so we create movements and we create stories with our body. Okay. I do this work also in France in refugee camps, because I'm from the south of France, which is a place where a lot of people cross because we're close to the Spanish border, and so a lot of people from Africa, North Africa try to cross and come through the Pyrenees. So when I go to refugee camps, I don't speak the same language than most of people, right? So they don't speak French yet. I don't speak Farsi, or I don't speak any other languages they speak. So that's when, language is not necessarily the best way or the only way to communicate a story. And so that's why we go and we use our body. we try to really amplify the traditions that you have in your body wherever you come from, and to try to showcase that and to blend it with my Western, right? And so we try to make of all of this. So we're gonna try all together just a little session just to see a little bit the type of work we do. We're not gonna go like, oh, da, 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 da. Don't worry about this, okay? It's gonna be more intimate and with yourself. And kids, you're gonna love it. I have a 3-year-old daughter who's not here because she's not yet out of the terrible twos, and so not, wouldn't work right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go in the center just so everybody can hear my voice, okay? All right. If you feel comfortable with that, just try to close your eyes, okay? It's not gonna be a guided meditation, okay? This is not what it is about. No offense, but this is not what it is about, okay? It's just for you to center yourself and don't feel like you are watched or you watch people. It's not what it is about, okay? So we're gonna do something that we call scanning your body. And if you don't understand what I say because of my thick accent, I won't be offended, ask me to repeat, okay? I'm used to it. So we're gonna scan our own body, all right? So I'm gonna help you do this. So close your eyes if you want, or just focus on the floor, or focus on something you see. But closing your eyes will help you actually scan your body and be in your body, okay? So what we're looking for is tensions, little places, okay? But tension, and also, I'm gonna just ask you a question and you're gonna scan your body with that question in mind. My question is, where is home? Okay? So let's start in your hair. Okay, so really the top of your body. When you close your eyes and you think of, is this where home is? Okay? So your hair. And we're gonna go down all the way to the feet, okay? So hair. Now let's see maybe your forehead. Is this where home is? Your ears, your eyes, the mouth. And just move just a little bit the head. Just like if there's a little bit of tension, or just to see, like maybe if I move a little bit on the side, maybe that's a position of my head that makes it more familiar, more intimate, like my home place. Then you go in your neck, maybe the shoulders, okay? So we're going down. And feel free to move just a little bit the shoulders, like however you want, Don't have to like go deep stretch, but just a little bit. Does that feel more familiar, intimate home? Or maybe it's the opposite. Then how about I want you to jiggle a little bit your arms and your hands and your fingers. Are you like a soft jiggler? Or are you a hard one, a fast one? Okay, just what feels comfortable. Then your torso. Or your breasts, okay? Is this part something that you're like, wow, this definitely home. Let's go down to the belly. And maybe the back of your back. Your back, okay? Your booty, your pelvis. And try to just move a little bit that part of your body, okay? Nobody's watching you but me, okay? And I've seen it all. So just move a little bit, your hips, the back, okay? And now your legs. If you bend them, is this something that feels more like something that I would do at home, or that reminds me of my home country? Or being very straight and still is something that, empowers me. How about your feet? If you want to jiggle them, you can jiggle them a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to go back to the top and we're gonna go super quick and jiggle everything. Okay. Nobody's looking. Okay, so we don't care. Okay. Okay. Back to not moving. Okay. Yeah. All right. Open your eyes. Okay. So we are, most of us, parents. That's something that takes us outside of us, and that's a moment just for you, okay? We kept talking about this during the panel, right? Don't forget that you also are an individual, and sometimes you just need to I'm tired, and I just hate everybody, including my kids, and it's fine, you know? And so, where is the hate? Is it just here? Maybe no. Is it here? No. Is it definitely here because she keeps asking me to hold her, and I just cannot take it anymore. So, a little scan sometimes, it's always welcome. So now you're going to partner with someone. So just turn on your right side, let's say. One person, oh yes, no. So one right. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. You good? Yeah, okay. So now we're gonna do something else. So again, we're still in this where is home? Okay, yeah? Okay. So we're gonna do something, can I use you as my, okay. So we're gonna start talking a little bit. So most of the workshops I do, we don't talk. Or at least we don't verbally communicate, right? But so here, since we all share English, then we're gonna use that. So I'm gonna be like, okay, so where is home? We're gonna converse a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna time you. At some point, I don't care where home is anymore, okay? So we're gonna just exchange and talk. Where is home? Explain to me. Okay, why? In your body, okay? No, I do care, but I don't really care about the country or your passport. That's not what it is about, okay? Where did you find home? Here, yeah? So you're gonna talk a little bit about this. And then you're gonna close your eyes. So go ahead, close your eyes. Okay. Is home here? And I'm gonna just talk like this, okay? If you don't feel comfortable with sharing with the other gender, we can change, it doesn't matter, okay, yeah? Is home here? And because I'm touching right here, you're gonna move that part. Okay, so maybe do it on me. Okay, so ask me, is home somewhere?
Is home.
It's not an answer. It's one answer. Okay? Yes, no, it's not a yes or no question. It's more like, let me try and see. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Where is home? Where is home?
Okay? So we're gonna scout whatever we feel like is home and look around, right? Okay, talk about sculptures. So take a little bit more space. Maybe you can come a little bit here. Come here. Come here. Can you come here? Yes. Okay. So listen up. I have my timer. And you have 2 minutes each person, okay, to explain in your body where did you find home. Does that make sense? So 2 minutes, first person, okay, go. So where is home in your body? We first start. First we just start. First we talk. If we start. know where home physically is in your partner, we're gonna go completely silent, okay? And one person is closing their eyes, okay? And will be the sculptor, and the other person is the sculptor. I don't even know if that makes sense. Sure. Sculptor and sculpture, sculpting. Okay, let's say that. And so one of the two has to have the eyes closed, and the other one is, the puppet master or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And maybe the point where you found your home will change because of the touch. Okay. Maybe I found home right here, okay, because I had a C-section. And so this is a sensitive, part of my body, right? And so my home is now my kid. Wherever my kid is my home. So that's usually the part where I feel like it's home for me. But when I think about it, only when I scan my body. But then if you actually touch here, I don't feel much. So it's not really home because I don't really feel this part of my body. So if you maybe touch somewhere else, maybe it's gonna be like, oh wow, this actually feels intimate, familiar, good. Does that make sense? Okay, so we go in silent. And just make sure you know who starts, okay? One person close their eyes. And we're not supposed to talk. Okay. So we are doing silent. Yes. Because I think you did this function before. Yeah. You were not supposed to. So you don't talk. And you don't talk. But very like this. Do you feel good about this? You okay? So she's gonna ask you. Like and then you move it because she touched it. And you try to see if the movement makes sense. Than just scanning like this still. Does that make sense? No, you won't. Try it. I think it will make sense. If it doesn't, I'll come back to it. Okay? Only one person. Yeah. Anywhere where you felt like I went to be fast, but any place where you were like, oh, that feels actually How was the final, how was the end? Who wants to show? A little bit. How are you? You were like this? How are you? You were like this? Okay, excellent. How are you? I remember that was a good one. Almost fell. All right, so that was the first part of the little workshop, okay? The second part is a little bit more storytelling, yes? It won't be super long, okay? So if you can stay another 15 minutes. And then we understood where home, or at least we tried to get a sense of where home feels. Okay, so now let's take the word literally. So where is actually home? All right, wherever, if you are an immigrant, a kid of immigrant, or if you are born and raised here, or if you were brought here, or whatever, okay? How does that, where is it, right? And it's a very hard question. It sounds like a very, mundane question, oh, where is home? But it's not, like it's really, really hard to answer. And when we think about this, I think a lot about the people I work with usually. A lot of them, got deported by fucking ICE, and their kids are, they've been like separated from their kids, and then you think about what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Congo, in Sudan. So it's just like, it's hard to not involve all of this in also the global home that which we live, right? We live here, but on social media, we're everywhere, and at the same time, we're from another country, and then we speak like how many languages? So. Yeah, so all of this is also included today, at least, in what we think of home, or the privilege that we have to actually be able to answer that question, right? So, you're gonna close your eyes again, individually, and I'm going to ask you to create a movement. You can use only one part of your body, or your entire body, it doesn't matter, okay? And you're gonna make a movement. What is home for you? So it can be something that's very traditional from your hometown, your homeland, or it can be something that just emotionally reminds you of home, okay? So you can take a minute, just close your eyes and think about home, and make that movement. And do it for yourself. And you can actually do it, or you can have it in your mind, okay? It's okay if you don't want to move too much. Okay. Do you all have that one movement, that first movement of home? Okay. Now, let's think of here, right now, okay? The space that we are sharing, the space that we decided or not to be here, right? There's different ways to be an immigrant. There's different levels of privilege of being an immigrant, or just why is my family here, right? So there's like different stories. So how about here right now? Close your eyes and think of a movement that would faithfully showcase you right now here. Okay, once you have this movement, I want you to try to link the two movements we just created, the one for home and the one for here. So how can you put them together, link them? Okay? Do you have your mini choreography with you? Your two movement choreography with you? Okay, go back to your group, and you're going to share those two movements. Okay? So listen before we start talking, okay? Because then you don't hear it. So one member of the group will show the two movements. Okay, I'm just making this up. Okay. And then the other person will share the movement. I don't know, okay? And then you're gonna create a 4-movement choreography. Oh. Okay? So you're gonna try to find a way to combine the 4 movements together. Okay? You can use just the upper body. You can try to level them. You can try to, okay? Yeah? All right.
And I guess mine would be because I'm giving myself some more moment before bringing myself out, getting ready to start cleaning up the food. So if you wanted to grab something, it's probably better to do it now because I'm going to be cleaning up, okay? Thank you. So that was this. So good, right? You know what? My parking lot is low. We're still inside. You should be going. I promised my husband that we were gonna go to dinner if he cleaned the kitchen. Where's the better line?
Back, please. All right. So I just want to see the movements, okay? We're gonna show you our movements. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You come with me. All right. So let's start here. All right. You ready? Okay. Right, okay. So who wants to show us the full movement? Okay, go. Yeah, of course, yeah. Amazing.
Okay, start with yeah, okay, and
Okay, do it again. Don't talk. Just do it.
all right.
Another group. Yeah, okay. They're gonna go. Simple. Perfect. That was a combination of both. Okay.
So we had the walk. Then we were both thinking.
Huh.
This.
And
then we were looking at the floor, trying to figure this roll out.
Perfect. Love it. You want to go?
So
We had this, home, these are not home, and then these, and then...
Okay, do it again and don't talk. Yeah! All right, thank you guys. Great job. Thank you.
So we have just wrapped up my very first inaugural Dunia Consulting event, which is Dunia Dialogues, Mamas Who Move the World. I'm super happy, I'm super proud. I'm very excited that people who love this place, they felt genuinely inspired, happy, connected. Some topics that we discussed were a little bit sad, sensitive, but the conversation that we had today gives me hope for a better future, for mothers, for women, and for Dunia Dialogues. And I hope to see you soon in the next episode and in the next series of Dunia Dialogues, Mamas Who Move the World. Thank you.